Okay, so this is the practice that we talked about on the problems that are like the scavenger hunt but have some fractions in it and possibly a few other little quirky things. Remember, we said we're going to train a little harder and we're going to test. And these are state test questions from the past, so I think you can handle it as long as you follow our 3-step sequence, which is to simplify. That means we're going to distribute first, then combine like terms. This is the spot right here where if you're going to have trouble, this is probably where it's going to happen. Skipping this part before and then moving on to one of these two instead. So you want to make sure that you simplify. Once you're simplified on both sides all the way, then consider whether or not you have variables on both sides. And the final part would be to solve either your 1-step or your 2-step. So let's get started on number 1. Actually, before we do that, this should be attached to Google Classroom under the assignment so that you can print it or have it ahead of time, this sheet right here. And then I am going to attempt to make this an Edpuzzle, but if it doesn't work, I'm going to run this as if you're going to have to pause it on your own as opposed to Edpuzzle making the pauses and asking the questions. So make sure you're doing it ahead of me so that you can make those great mistakes, okay? So let's get started. Go ahead and start solving this equation. Get as far as you can get or all the way to the end. Pause the video until you're done and then unpause it to see how I would suggest you do it. Okay. First step would be to simplify. So in this equation we have parentheses, so we want to distribute first. So that would be this part right here. So we're going to do 1/6 times 36x, which is going to give me 6x. 1/6, so positive times negative 12, is going to give me -2. Check your signs. That would be my biggest concern with the distributive property. This -5 is not part of, or is not inside the parentheses, so you're just bringing down the -5, or you can call it -5, and the equals 10. Distribute, check. Combine like terms. So remember, this is the part where if you're going to steer wrong, this is where it's going to happen. Cover this side up, and let's simplify this expression by combining like terms when possible. Remember the sign, the number, and the letter. The sign is the one in front. So this minus goes with this 2, and this minus goes with this 5x. And some people kind of doing it backwards. Okay, so what's 6x combined with -5x? 1x. And then you're not going to be able to combine the -2 with anything, so that comes down, and you get 10. So we distributed, we combined like terms. Do we have variables on both sides? We don't, so this step is not necessary. So we're going to move on, which means this must be either a 1-step or a 2-step, and look, it's just a 1-step. Add 2 to both sides, x equals 12. Okay, so then when you go to practice your check, you're going to plug this number into the original, not into what you did, because if there was a mistake anywhere from the original, you're not going to catch it if you don't plug it into the original. I thought that was strange that people were plugging it in other places. So you're going to do 1/6 times 36 times x minus 12, and the parentheses, minus 5 times 12. And it should come out to be 10 if you do it properly. So you can either do 36 times 12, it comes out to be 400 something, minus 12, take 1/6 of that, then subtract this 60, and you'll get 10, or you can go ahead and throw it into your calculator all at once. Please try this. So 1 ABC 6 parenthesis 36 times x minus 12. I'm not going to do this every time because it will take the video too long. You should be doing it every time now. Minus 12, bango, enter, and you get 10, which matches. Check. So I know I got the right answer. Okay, moving on. So the next equation has parentheses on the right hand side. So that's going to be our first move always. This was the one I showed you in class. So you're going to distribute a -6. Oh, make sure you pause this video and solve this first. Make any mistakes you're going to make, and then turn it back on so I can go back over it with you. That is the best way to do this. So that, obviously, if you're doing it just with me and not doing it on your own, you're not going to make any mistakes. So you're not going to find your spot. So please do that. So -6 on the right hand side is going to be -6 times x, giving me I'm looking at my key, -6x, and then -6 times -2/3. This is where I'm having the most trouble. It's negative times a negative, or the minus times the minus is going to be just a +9. There should be no plus minus. There should be no minus minus there. That's it. Then you're just going to bring down the 1.5x because that's not part of this step. Bring everything else down. Don't do anything else yet. Rewrite this. This is where I'm having kids cut corners. It is causing errors, which you should not be making. After we distribute, you want to combine like terms. So I'm going to box and circle on the left. 3.1x and -7.4x make -4.3x. There is no other constant on the left, so I bring that down. 1.5x combined with -6x is going to be something negative, right? -4.5x plus 9. So right here was simplifying. This is key. Okay? Make sure both of these two lines look exactly like mine. If they don't look exactly like mine, you are cutting corners. And I am not okay with that because it's going to cause you to make silly mistakes, which you should not be making. That's the last time I'm going to say that. Okay. So at this point, if this was an extraneous solution, you'd be able to figure it out. That's another reason I really like doing it this way. But we're not doing that yet, so it's okay. So what are we on now? After we simplify, we're going to move. What does that mean? Check to see if we have variables on both sides, and we do. So at this point, you're going to deal with that by either adding 4.3x to both sides or adding 4.5x. Since -4.5 is smaller than -4.3, you know this is going to be the one that I move. The move part of this is quick, if done correctly, right? This is 0, and you get 0.2x plus 7 comes down. Don't forget to bring this sucker down. And then equals 9. So after this, you should be able to solve it like it's a level 1, level 2. It's a level 2 because it has a decimal. 0.2x equals 2. Divide by 0.2. X equals 10. Please practice putting this in and checking it. This would be something on the next class when I see you for review that you could quick ask me at the beginning of class to show you how to do. Please try the check. Okay. Last and final one has a lot to it. So the first thing we're going to do is simplify. So this looks a little scary. Let's just not focus on that then. Let's just focus on getting our point for distributing over here. So 0.4 times 2x is 0.8x. Oh wait, don't forget to pause the video and try this one on your own. Or if you're confused here, let me get to it and then pause it again and then try to work through it as much as you can on your own. 0.4 times 1/2 is 0.2. Doing this without trying it first is kind of silly. Okay, so these brackets are the same as parentheses, so technically you want to do what's inside this first. See this right here? This is called a double sign. We really cannot have those when we're solving equations. So what we want you to do is change that. So adding a negative is the same as just subtracting, or you could think of it as distributing a +1. +1 times -2, or just multiplying, is going to be -2. However you want to think of that, I'm also going to change that to a parenthesis to make my eyes happy. -2 minus 4. That potentially would be the trickiest part right there. Positive times a negative, -2. Alright, now that looks nicer. So now let's distribute on this side. What I'm going to do is also bring all this down. Distribute. 3 times 0.2 is 0.6x, 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. Bring down your minus 4. Okay, so done with distributing. Still haven't simplified all the way. So now we're going to combine like terms. Cannot do anything on the left-hand side. But I can combine the negative 6 and the negative 4. See, with the constant combining, that's where people are cutting. Make sure you do that first. At this point, I would ask you to evaluate to see if there's extraneous solutions when we get to that chapter. For right now, I'm going to continue solving. The next part in our sequence is to move. There are variables on both sides. I am going to move or deal with the one on the right because it has the smaller coefficient. Make sure you're putting signs here telling me what you're doing. That adds up to 0. This gives me 0.2x. Again, that will make you think you're doing something wrong. I think I did this ahead of time. I would have second guessed myself with this. Okay, after we move, we're going to be solving. So is it a 1-step, 2-step? What do we have? We have a level 2 2-step. So the only reason it's a level 2, an 8th grade 2-step, is because we have decimals, but you're good. Move the constant or clear the constant. This adds up to 0. 0.2x equals negative 10.2. Careful here. And then you're going to divide by 0.2. X equals, put that in, negative 10.2 divided by 0.2 gives you minus 51. Slap that into your check. That is a really good check to practice. And show me this work when you come in, and I'll give you a sticker. How about that? That sound like a good deal? 1 sticker. Okay. I got away from the stickers last class, right? Just because I was so focused on getting you guys where you needed to be. But you remind me and I'll give you a sticker, okay? And we still got prizes going on. Okay. Have a great day, and I will see you next class for review for the test. I am very, very proud of all of you.